be up.
Where
All right.
Hello, YouTube.
Hello, everyone.
Hello
No,
to
fuck
our
it.
entire viewer.
So, we are
And now
tuber.
you scared yourself within the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, I don't care.
Demonetized.
I'm not that monetized yet. When this gets 10,000 views, we'll see. I got a message on Discord. Why do I
like
get a
the
Discord
optimism
message?
in saying when and not if.
All right, great. Broadside has shield packs now. Great.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
That's how we get 10,000 views. Broadside leaks accidentally in a D&D stream.
That's a good idea, actually.
We're working on a railgun. Woo!
Someone burned down their house or something, so we coincidentally
Burning
go by.
down the house.
All right. So, last we left off, you were in. I say last we left off because I've been watching Critical Role like an idiot. Anyway, last we left off, you were in not quite the real world, nor the fantasy world. You were in a demi-plane of sorts of Tanosir's making, his grand library that has kept Nolan salivating this entire time. There is a lot of knowledge here, and a lot of people running around as well, and central to all of that, in this large expanse, there is a singular desk of Tanosir himself. Had a neat little chat, more about that later. But the end, of course, about the world, the situation you are in, the enemies you face, and the conundrums at hand. And a few clarifications, perhaps, as was necessary. And so, before we get into the continuation of that yapping session, I would like to know from all of you, because you have, of course, also leveled up. Congratulations, you didn't die. I'll be using that extra power to your disadvantage. Plus 2 CR to all encounters.
Oh, damn.
And
That math
I would like to know what each of you individually took away from that encounter. The things you remembered, the things on your mind right now. And we'll start with Boris.
Tana Osir seemed legit. I am doubtful how he stands across my gods. And sunstones might need to be destroyed. Due to them being the chains that are chaining my gods. I just think the gist of what's in Boris's head at the moment.
All
Have
right.
you learned about the sunstones and those holy chains? Do you know how many there are? Or... We know? No.
Nope. I
At
just
least
know
one.
at least one, and my god is chained, and they are abusing his power to create pact stones and whatnot. So maybe it's time to kill some sunstones. Or absorb them and become divinity myself.
Nice.
There's also that route.
Casual dropping that one.
On his way
We'll
to
see.
godhood.
Oh, your characters.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, I just divine divinity popped into my head.
I shall become an ascendant. Okay. Mr. Cassius.
It's difficult because I think Cassius is mostly thinking about how Thanosir seems to have a reasonably good grasp of things, but up until now he seems to try and stay out of the conflict somewhat, and Cassius wonders if that would be the correct decision in this moment, to look at the conflict on the sidelines, or if that just means he's going to be inevitably too late to actually meaningfully contribute in whatever is happening. And I think Cassius is also questioning whether or not he should tell Tano Asir about the sword that kills gods that he's got in his backpack, and whether or not this person could be trusted with it. Because Cassius is very well aware that he's been carrying around the Godslayer 3000 in what is essentially just his random backpack, and everywhere he goes, it's putting the sword in, or it's creating a very big risk, because if Cassius dies at any point, then the sword just kind of drops out, and it could have dropped out in front of Black Nanos's feet, or in Satyane's, or the Thieves Guild could have taken it, or the Captain of the Guard could have taken it. So he is looking for, like, is there a safe place he could stash the sword while he goes off and fights dangerous entities, because bringing it with him is a risk in and of itself. So he's also thinking about, is this is the first person who he thinks might be capable of concealing it in a somewhat safe place, but he's not quite sure if this person can be trusted with something like that.
All right. Nolan.
Well, he envies Thanos here because he has a lot of knowledge. But then again, it's knowledge that's not written. So how did he get to this knowledge? To which he didn't reply or vaguely replied. But then again, this library is amazing. So he also envies the library because this puts his ideas for his own library in perspective. And now he needs to step it up a bit to make a library bigger than his library. But then again, Nolan only has like 10 or 20 years more to live, and for some reason this guy has been 90 for quite a while. And I want to read this book. I must read this book.
And
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yes, I want to go to also. We need to get the Pax Stone, but I don't want to give the Pax Stone to him because his reasoning seems legit and he wants to protect it. But who really trusts an archmage with Pax Stone?
All
Yes.
right. Daria.
Well, Dar is quite amazed that he's standing before someone that actually, well, lived through everything, and he looks at a person that he's been looking for, someone that can somehow give him some clearance in the muck we've been grabbing. But yeah, he thinks the Archmage is truthful, but he needs to he needs to build up more credibility. Like, can we trust him with everything? We didn't tell him everything. We didn't tell him about null. Can we really trust him when we get the Pack Stone? Should we give it to him? It's quite vague. So yeah, of all the people that have something to do with ancient history, he seems like the one straight, truthful guy. But Dario is quite naive. And well, the meeting with Gale is way more pronounced, way more profound for Dario, because the druid gave him, well, purpose, got him back on track. Like, yes, this is what I'm doing, and I shouldn't give up. The archmage is, well, more redundant.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, with that, at the end of that long conversation and those talks, Thanos here will fold his hands and then look to you, Gord. I would like to have a chat with you, Gord Grimbeard. Would you like it to be in private, or can your companions listen in?
I have no secrets for my companions. They're more than welcome at the table.
Very well. How much do you know about what you are?
Wat I am. You mean, heb je er iets aan verteld of? Nee, hè?
Nope.
Nope.
Dus je komt out of the blue, hè? Ja. Whatever do you mean?
Hmm.
Ik probeer het water wat aan te voelen. Hè, maar
Completely
weet
different
je wat?
accent.
Accent moet er niet heen kijken.
You are not a dwarf. And the changing. You are not using magic. Or at least not something that we can see as such. Yet you were a dwarf. Were you not?
I am still a dwarf. My body may have changed, but there's some good Grimbeard in me yet. And I will drop my my dwarven form and change to the white, black-eyed changeling form.
And he leans back, not concerned. But a few people in the surrounding area are. They
Weet je
stop.
welke mensen zijn er nog in de kamer? Ik dacht alleen maar.
I said there were quite a few people here in this
Yeah.
library. This is an open library where all of which
Yeah.
are students of Dino Asir, basically, or sub-students. There's a few people who stand at the ready for a moment. But Dino Asir doesn't seem to be perturbed, just leans back a little bit.
This body is quite new to me.
Interesting.
Sure, yes.
And how, pray tell, did you come to be so malleable?
Well, have you ever heard of Ante?
And that he closes his eyes for a moment. To speak such a name with such ease.
I know I'm not supposed to, but I don't like all that secrecy. I'm an open book, you know.
Oh, it's not about secrecy. It's about the power of names, Gorn.
There's also power in fearing a name.
Fair. So you are one of his now.
I guess so, but not willingly. He's kind of taking my soul hostage. I'm not sure if I like him. I really don't like him actually. He's kind of enslaving me, you know. He just took my soul, saying, "Go there, do this."
Interesting.
Sometimes he seems to take over.
Does he?
Aye.
Oh, that's not good.
Do you have any magics to keep him away? To banish him from this body? He'll still have my soul, but if maybe you can give something to my friends that can, if he takes over and they can push a button which will, I don't know, stun me or banish me or...
It is interesting. Make a persuasion roll, Gord.
First roll.
Turn Gord into a nuke.
Ene is al district, but...
Do we have
22.
a reset button? Gord's up on the fritz again. Can we turn him back on again?
There was one like you before. though the records are sparse. Oh. I don't know what is truth or what is conjecture. I really do hate the latter. But I will simply state that right now, any being, divine or mortal, that tampers with his view into this world, well, nothing good would come to them, nor the surroundings they are in. The first to awaken, as he's more easily called, he reaches for this place for reasons that are still much speculated about. You have a task then, yes?
I'm afraid so.
You do not need to speak of it. I can connect some of the dots here. And he holds your soul.
Aye.
Well, that is quite interesting. I hope you understand. I do not say lightly that you are perhaps one of the only creatures in existence right now that has a bargaining chip on the first to awaken. That is very interesting.
Yes, but I'm not sure if he gets that chip, what would happen?
Again, useless speculation. Tell me. This is as safe a space as I can make it. It is not far from our reality. Quite close. I'm quite proud of it indeed. And I'm quite confident in my own abilities. There are some things I'd like to find out. A little experiment. Again, in perfect safety. If you're willing.
In een minuut, want daarna staat te wachten voor iets te vragen.
Sure.
Can I make an insight check when he says perfect safety? Does he actually believe that he can do it safely, or is he just saying that to convince Cord?
Make an insight roll.
Sorry, ja, min 3.
This man. So that's an inside check versus Cassius, by the way. This man is on the verge of hubris when he says that he has done this to the best of his ability. But there is a stoicness, and you realize that you can't quite pierce his thoughts. This is a studied and trained man. And that wasn't enough, because I rolled quite well with some bonuses. But there is no lie. There is confidence.
He believes he can pull this off.
That's what you can tell.
Yeah.
So, with your permission, I won't force this upon you.
No, you go ahead. I mean, maybe we can get something out of it. Perhaps I can learn something about myself.
And I'm certain your friends would wish to join.
Well, what kind of
Yes.
experiments are we talking about?
I'm pretty sure
Maybe
Nolan
you
will help
see
you poke the sticks.
Nolan's eye are twinkling.
Yeah.
I was wondering maybe that
Experimenting?
in the meantime you perform these experiments. Is there a section in this library that pertains, well, ancient information about my ancestors? I would like to read up on them instead of, well, experimenting on Gord.
What were
He
those
sn-
three?
He snaps his fingers, and 2 students come running up. And he flashes for a moment, and you see, Dario, your words written in the sky, or in the air, written the exact transcript of the conversation. Please. And they run back again, and you see them rummaging, and you see the mage hand a few books from the shelves. And yeah, so with that, a few minutes pass, I would say, that you are provided with a few books, and
I'm going to find them.
Dario,
There's a-
Dario, what were the names of those 3 books again that your mistress had used?
Oh yes, maybe they are in this library.
Do you have them here? Something about Dun Madrid, the Last Academy of Holan, Midst of Severnus,
Yes.
and Beneath the Depths of Felix Lustrum.
Yes, indeed, those
We would
three.
be very interested in reading those.
I'm sorry. Whom provided that book list?
No, we went to a library and the
Yes.
librarian said that those 3 books were stolen from the library, and we can only surmise it was my master on our.
What a grave crime.
We haven't found the library yet where
We have-
these.
We have been
Wait, they
trying
have-
to find those books to find
And
out
what
what
library was that?
Oratal?
No, no, no.
Jawel, jawel. Wacht.
Felix from himself?
I don't know. But
The ghost dude?
Right.
if it was less than 30 days ago, Nolan knows by heart.
Yeah, so I think it was Felix Lustrum.
Felix Lustrum? Okay.
Or it might Oratal or Felix Lustrum, I don't
This
remember.
lesson was complete shambles.
Yeah,
Did-
true.
You didn't visit
Yeah.
the library in Felix Lustrum.
Then it
True.
must have been Oratal.
I think
Yeah.
it's all at Oratal.
Yeah, definitely, because that's where she would start. So you'll just done moderate. That's a frightful thought. Huh. I do believe we have those on record, don't we? Perhaps in the surface. And he'll, again, 2 others, while these other people, you see a oak-bound tome, and you have a scroll. And then first of all, one of the students just comes up and bows and whispers to Tano Asir from a distance a message that is being sent, but silently.
Can I see his lips when he does it?
Of course. See, you literally sent me that fucking message.
I sent you like, this is what I can do now.
Yep, you're right. Yes, you can read his lips, and yes, with your passive fucking perception now, you can indeed,
Yes.
without a roll.
For the people at home, I took the observant feat at level 10, which means I can now read lips when I see people talking.
You!
Additionally, my passive perception is now 27.
What?
Yeah,
Nee.
want the stealth against this guy? Roll a 30. That's what we're doing now.
I see everything. I don't know what it means, but I see it.
Yeah, you see the
much, too
fucking
much.
texture glitches in the world. All right. Okay, so
Nice.
that's fine. The student says, forgive my pardon, excuse me, Thanos here. There is one more book that might be pertinent to the request given, but it is, of course, stored in ancient media, and I don't know if we are allowed to expose this to these people. It is our only copy, and we have, of course, and Thanos here replies, I do believe this group has perhaps already encountered such things.
I'll use my telepathy to brief that over to Nolan and ask him, like, do you... no, because this is one way, so I'll tell Nolan what they're talking about in hopes that he might recognize it and know how to respond to it.
Ancient history, you say?
You say that out loud?
Yes. That's the only way no one knows how to do it.
Giving it all away.
Ja, maar dat is kijk goed. Ik denk die Nolan heeft epic special powers.
Nolan knows everything!
Yeah.
Dat heb ik ook guesses, iets.
Well, I think the gig is up, and he'll speak out loud. Bring it. Yes, and scuttles off, returns. And what is provided looks like a slab of glass, but at the touch, it lights up.
Lonan takes out one of the 3 devices he found at the hidden island.
And that both the student freezes, and Thanos here just waves his hand. That'll be all. And the student waits for a moment and stares at the thing. And then Thanos turns his head, and the student immediately dimension doors away.
I put it back. We've seen our share.
I see. Conversation for later, perhaps. Daria, you are given this thing. You have given an oak-bound tome that looks to be... It is actually written in Druidic script. So, I'm not going to say nobody could read it other than you, because that's not true anymore either. Fucking level ups. This is why I don't do these.
I didn't get anything really.
And, well, I'll tell you what's in them later.
Yeah, sure.
But the top one, because I'm sure everybody's very, very interested in knowing what, you touch it and boop, it lights up. You can see there has been like arcane scripture on the sides. With Nolan, you pick up has been like a binding or a preserving spell that has been cast on this. Like they've tried to keep it together with magic. This thing is like an illusion being projected on glass, and it is in Elvish, but it is old. It is like you have to like squint. You've never been much of a books kind of guy, so it's like, okay, yeah, this is not even what the elders spoke. This is like ancient Elvish, and you realize then, holy crap, this is long enough ago that Elven language has changed. This is thought to be impossible. And it is a detailed log, you recognize some names of simply Otan with no subdivision. The first tribe to arrive on this world, detailing the corruption of the earth and nature.
It's long ago.
Nice. That's what I want.
So, for now, I haven't written those out yet, but we'll brief you soon enough.
Yep.
The oak-bound tome is about the lineages of the Otan, and I guess I actually don't know, but I'll look that up. Because I don't know how much Elven history I gave you in your backstory here. Not gonna waste too much time on this, but
No, sure.
yeah, link me your backstory doc, and then I can fill that in later. Mostly it's about bad things happening in Daraxin. There's also mention of those that settled in the vibrant forests that stretched from the sea, that stretched to both seas. So you just learned that the forest that is underneath Illysh, all the way up to Ilinada, the Nosor, was a singular forest. That I will already give you. And the book, the third book, the scroll, is detailing the ravages after the wound of Nomadar was created. These are first accounts, not of an elf, but of a mage that traveled to assist in trying to document what had happened after Rashinidre performed his spell. He was an investigator that was tracking the Council of Severnus, and he got there a little late. So yeah, with that, as you are engrossed in that, so I don't want to be very, how do I put this properly? I'm a very cautious man, Gord. I know what I am about to introduce, so we will begin with simple things and see where our luck runs out. Hopefully we'll stop before then. If you don't mind, everyone. And he'll snap his fingers, and in an instant. So Daria, you're staying out, yeah?
Yeah, I'm staying out.
The world turns black. The library is gone. There is no transition. It is just there. With a similar snap, you are now in a featureless white room. The desk is still there, your chairs are still there, but this is a white expanse. No features, only the ground that seemingly is no different from the white expanse below or top. You're simply there on solid ground. I have performed research, personally, on the events of Felix Lustrum, and, of course, the Council of Severnus. I am acutely aware of what happened there. Actually, and because I did do a thing here. The question remains, not about what happened at Severnus, but why? Why did the council choose Severnus? Why is it that twice now a calamity has occurred there? We know of the first to awaken, but if records are correct, then the very arcane dawn, the first magic to reach us, that which Daniel Tennis and Euronymous Bartle himself distilled, this was nothing more than a cry across the plains and space. What caused the Four and the Swarm to converge on that very planet? What did they find, or what did they lose? What were they fighting for? I don't know. And I would dare guess that not even Kirksarin knows. But he is looking. For beyond everything else, he is still a man of science and knowledge. It worries me greatly that a man of such zeal and singular focus were to be so sidetracked by such a thing, if indeed this was not the very goal from the beginning, and he was simply stringing the others along. The first...
Kadana was a leader of Severnus.
He was the instigator. He was the founder. But Kirksarin is the last to stand. And he was the one to conquer death. The first to awaken. What was he? Who was he? I know of a betrayal. I know of an instigator to that betrayal. But what were they fighting back then? God.
Alright, let's get this over with, and he'll start taking his clothes off.
Oh, you feel like telekinetic pressure to put the clothes back on you as Thanos just closes his hand. No, not quite what we were talking about. I have here, through... It is quite embarrassing, really. Over my long studied life, I have been able to produce but 3 words. The first, well, I cannot decipher them, or they are in a language lost to us. I mean, we can impart meaning, yes, but I don't know what they mean. Are these names? Are these places? I do not know. I would like you to read those names for me, or these words. Let's see what comes up.
Alright.
And he'll push that forward. And you see gibberish. And Nolan, you may take a peek. And this is... First, as you look at it, these are words you've never seen before. This is in a different script. And you start to make sense of these words. You can read them. The first one reads Sithwe. And
Is niet Abyssal, hè? Want ik ken blijkbaar Abyssal.
no,
I know what Citra is.
and Gord, you look at that, and you feel heartsick. Like it's a name you haven't seen in a long time. This is lost love.
That's what it means, if that's what.
That's what you feel when you see.
reminding
You can't read these words.
Ooh, boy, I was not prepared for this dump.
But I feel like
Someone you love, you haven't seen in a very long time. And it's deep.
Oh, he was there.
what?
Then, the second word is revealed. And Nolan, you can decipher it, and if you were to pronounce it, it would sound like Sianiel.
Ian, yeah.
Yeah. Gord, you feel regret. And that same love, but distant. Not like the first word,
But connected, or
but connected, yes. And then, third word. I need to look up because I forgot the exact one because I didn't want to.
Or did I write this down, all this shit?
There you go.
zo'n ding onthoud ik niet zo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Je wou zo, wanneer wat ziet dan zo'n lampje opgaan? Dan denk ik, wat?
Of course.
Of course. Don't you know, like 2 years ago when he said that?
Yeah, he's got the keen
Yep.
mind feed. What can I say?
This character he plays. Dara doesn't bother.
I wasn't there for most of these, so I don't. this is
Where
all-
is
Yeah.
this stuff written? Oh my god.
Can you just Control F? No, you have to spell it correctly for that to work.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I found it. That.
And that simply reads that this, I will say, the third word, and Nolan, you can read it, which again I should have prepped because otherwise these just would have been words. It feels like home. And Nolan, it reads very dryly, Gate City 6. And then Atano Asir simply continues and says, I have been privileged to speak to some great minds of history through means. And at some point, I had a conversation with someone I believed was but a myth. I had a conversation with a man known now as Kadarnax when I was very young and foolish. Earlier, one of the books you cited, and from nothing, Thanosir produces the 3 books you mentioned and grabs the one dealing with Holon. Foolish enough to tread where legends once trod, and I was stopped by none other. I've long seen that as a badge of honor, that I know I would have had the power to achieve something there. But I did not, for he stopped me and I was firmly stopped. Does this name mean anything to you? And another piece of gibberish. And Nolan, on that piece of paper says Peter Kadarn.
Peter Kadarn.
Kadanner.
Kadanner or
Kadarn.
Kadarn?
Yeah.
Kadarn.
Maybe
Oh
it's the
my
same person.
god, it goes back to the island.
And he said, Kadarnax, that this was his true name, but that it wouldn't hold value to anyone except for a choice few. At that point, Gord, you remember yourself having a conversation. You remember warning a friend, telling them to take care of your wife and son, to hold them close with whatever power he might have, for something was amiss. You knew somehow that you wouldn't be coming back from the next mission. Something had been found. Something the demons had been fighting for. And you were going to push for it. You had to. Not because of any orders. Not because of anything anyone said. In fact, they tried to stop you, but they couldn't. And you'd been warned by your dear friend Seth not to do so. Because that would take you too far. Those were the ones we were warned to stay away from. The ones at the center of it all. But you were tired. Always just defending. Always just cutting down the ones that came too far. Never going to the heart of them. And you couldn't. You're strong enough. All of you, however, do not see Gord, nor are you there. You hear Thanos here screaming, but his voice doesn't reach you. For this entire white space has been filled in a black void. There's black sand on the ground, and you hear the screams of demons around you. Explosions as a city stands on fire. The buildings rising higher than your neck can carry. And there you see a large soldier. In armor you've never seen. Weapons you've never seen. Explosions that sound nothing like magic you've ever heard. No, not one soldier. Two. One a little thinner, a crew cut, blonde hair. A man you've seen before. Wading through a battle. And Gord, you see something there. The thing they wanted. A symbol of some kind. A shrine. Yeah.
Do I recognize the symbol?
I will allow everybody to roll perception.
Do I see anything with a passive of 27? I will still roll, but just wanna.
I'll allow you to roll Arcana for me because you definitely see it all. It's just, can you understand what you're saying?
That is fair.
You screwed yourself. You're gonna roll Arcana for the rest of the campaign, son.
Probably.
I'm assuming that means he will tell me everything I see, regardless of the roll. The
Yeah.
minimum roll I have on perception is a 13, anyway.
Okay.
You see an arcane rune.
Boris,
It's fine. I'll use the cheat code in by
Yeah.
I tell Nolan what I saw, and then Nolan
Yeah.
explains what I saw.
Okay. So, first of all, Gord, Nolan, Cassius, you see in the distance something impossibly large. You see a throne, but it is taller than the city around you. It is massive. It reaches to the size of mountains. You see clouds. And yes, there are clouds on Severnus. There is light here. This looks like a normal world, except still with the black sand. Clouds do not reach the shoulder of this giant throne. And on it, at the very base, the inclination difficult, but the shape lighting up red, being reflected off the throne itself, there is a massive rune. And it is constantly shifting. There is no doubt about it that this is demonic. And there is no doubt about it, Nolan, that this is some kind of teleportation or planar sigil. Boris, you only see one thing. An enemy. This sigil that keeps shifting. There is something in the back of your mind, even though that this is a vision, you hear the voice of your god. An emotion that screams out, this must be contained. This must not be allowed to spread. This is the enemy. This is the beginning of the enemy. Okay.
On my chest piece.
Daylight is being cast, and with that, you see this faceless soldier, this larger than Enromast ever was, but still human somehow.
Human?
Human. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No problem. It's
Amazing.
I'm trigger heavy today. Sorry.
So am I. You look round, he looks round for a moment, and in his eyes you see two red burning stars. As daylight's cast and the entire vision is washed away, the sigils of Helios are burned into the air as suddenly you hear Tano Asir again. As he's, what? And you see he's standing up, He's shaking, his hand is shaking, and sweat is dripping down his immaculate hair. Or no, sorry, he doesn't have hair. He's completely bald. So you just see the some of his mascara is like running a little bit as sweat is dripping off from his eyes. And he looks to you, Boris. Thank you for that. I see.
What was that creature? It was the most vile and foul thing I've ever witnessed.
Huh. Well, that provides more questions than answers, as usual.
Inside check. Can I see if he's telling the truth?
Sure, go for it.
As far as I could see, Boris, it was a demonic rune. There's some kind of planar connection. Bam! Nice.
And that's a 20. Yeah. Boris, you see fear on the man. Genuine fear. And indeed, something he will never admit. He has no idea. That's what is the cause of his fear. Because he was confident before, very confident, and he was very proud to provide the information he had. But now this goes far beyond, and you realize that he is going at 100 miles an hour in his mind, trying to connect dots that he cannot. Gord, in this moment, and this is not for anyone else to know, you realize now, for a moment there you were him. These are the remains, many thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years ago. That was the city you were protecting. But by some stupid luck, or perhaps never luck, always fate, there was something underneath that the demons brought back. Something the four were fighting against. And that's what you realized. There were two sides, but you were killing both. You realize now, Gord, for a brief moment, you are currently as much him as you are you. Gord's soul is not present. He gave you a piece of his. You're him now, walking this earth, enjoying the sights, being home. First time so long. The wife and child you left behind to go fight in this war, to know that you wouldn't return, as you had changed too much, you had grown too much, you had become too strong, to the point where you were feared as much as you were loved. And this was before the betrayal.
Can I surrender myself to that moment, to that emotion, to that realization? Okay, it's part of me. And can I surrender myself to his intentions? Because Gord's eternal doubts about this being if he ever gets what he wants, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna rain chaos on this world, or is he gonna be a champion for this world? Because now I realize, okay, he's a defender, and he will fight till the end to defend this. But is he still that man? Still that being?
You let all of this chaos around you fade for a moment, and you grab onto that fleeting feeling for a moment. The blinding light behind you. The first thing you encounter, still, is rage, anger, at failure, at betrayal. Not just yours, because for this brief moment, Anthe's soul is segregated, away from the maelstrom. The hate and the anger comes from all of those who were betrayed. The people he took within him, the souls he saved and keeps. And there is a longing to go home. Far stronger than his knowledge that if he does, he will take all of that rage with him. But he needs to. He wants to. More than anything. You feel nuance. But out there, there's only the primal emotions. The man might be trusted. What he is now, who's to say?
Yes.
All right.
Stilte.
Mm-hmm.
Yannick, wakker worden.
Ben wakker.
Name dump.
Met een D20
ook
aan het
zeven.
spelen gewoon. Maar
So,
nee, ik ben aan het nadenken.
Ja, ik ook.
En uw moment aan het gunnen.
Inderdaad.
I only
Favorite.
understood about half of that.
great.
Ik ook, maar zo praten Johan gewoon, hè, zo altijd.
Player
met,
choice required.
Ja,
Every
Player
time
you-
there comes an answer, it raises more questions.
Yes. So
No,
you
that's-
met Cadernax.
Yes. So like, yes, and perhaps I wish I didn't.
Did you know that Geronimus is alive too? You should pay a certain statue in Greven a visit once. It's a nice area to go.
Furthest away I am from Greven, the better.
How
Yes.
come?
Oh, I don't know. A wound to the abyss. The whereabouts and machinations of Jeromus Barthol. I keep track of them, yes. Do not know exactly what is going on with him. Impossible as it is that he is still around.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, you said that Kirksharin is the one to conquer death. But apparently there is someone named Cadernax still roaming about. There's a Geronimus still roaming about. They were there before the Arcane Dawn.
Yes.
So there's a lot more people that have apparently conquered that.
Interesting, is it not? And yet I failed to
Indeed.
grasp any one of them. Well, to make a deal with the Lord of Undeath is, of course, outside of my purview. Do not wish to shackle myself, although I do not know what Kirksarin holds over him that he has not exacted a toll.
If you keep working your end and we keep working our end, maybe we together can find the truth. Can find knowledge long lost. The answers to all your questions and mine.
Are you baiting him, or are you actually trying to persuade him?
Persuasion, yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Just the Nolan way. Of course.
Yeah.
You should know as well as I do that those are the traps Arcana sets out for people like us. Those are the pits you fall deepest in that makes people lose their way.
I don't care for the arcane, I care for the history. For the knowledge long lost, which should be written down on paper.
Perhaps agreed. There are such places, you know, Nolan. Have you heard the tales of the old gate cities? That some might still be operational today?
We might have visited one.
Did you?
Not maybe, not sure. If it was one. I've never heard of those cities.
The portal.
I just now read Gate City 6, which I have no reference to.
I see. Well, the legend goes that these were the epitome of the old world before the planet dawn. At the height of magic on this world, high enough to rouse the suspicion of the swarm and at least attract it. These were the cities that had the summation of knowledge of the entire, rule of mankind on this world.
Made by the Council of Magic. Well, the first Council of Severness, not the second one.
Yes. And of course the engineers and arcanists that were employed then. There were 8 in total.
Okay.
But all of them seemingly destroyed. But the last one we know of was beneath the city of Ektion. That one, sadly, was ripped away by a certain Rashan Idriathum and placed on Severnus.
No, Action was in the Nomadar Marshes.
It was close to it, but not the same event. And of course there are talks of some strange artifacts and so strange events happening in the Underdark. That can only be, explained is a large word, but connected to ancient technology.
Yeah,
as I've given
apparently
your elf friend.
There is a word of a. I forgot. I'm losing the name of the creature with the eyes.
Beholder?
Beholder?
Of a beholder collecting stuff from ancient times and the planet, the surface.
Yes, Igatox. One more problem. But before we get too into the weeds of this,
Mm-hmm.
Gords, that was not expected. In fact, you have the very how do I put it, rare honor of catching me off guard. I would be careful to breach such a creature to this world. Well, if it were any other, I would have you confined to this plane to never leave. It is well within my power. But I'd rather not challenge the ire of the creature you represent. Or in fact, the god you represent.
He was a man once. He had a family, a wife and child. He wanted to defend his home. I could see his memory as it was mine. He's angry, but there is something still left in him that wants to defend. He wants to fight these evils, these four gods, these old gods, the swarm probably.
Are
He
they the
just
ones?
wants to defend his home.
Are they the ones that stole his home away?
You're not there, Dario.
There. I thought you were there. Never mind.
No. Oh, yeah.
He's reading comic books somewhere.
Yeah.
Are we there, or is this happening in Gord's head?
No. This is now
is
you've
me
returned
explaining- yeah.
with the light of Boris. Everything,
Okay,
the
you've,
vision
yeah.
changed and disappeared, and now you're back in the white expanse.
I'm remembering stuff, and you'll see him rummaging. He takes his backpack and he starts rummaging in his backpack, and a thick envelope, pretty well protected. He takes out those pictures from the island in Lake Quamarden,
Yeah.
and he starts to go through those pictures now. Now, see if anything triggers more memories. If he knows those people.
Okay. So Tano immediately looks at Nolan for a moment and stares and then looks back and doesn't do anything, just takes a moment. Gord, make an investigation roll with advantage.
In the meanwhile, I will just tell you should give us a lot more credit.
This man who's been carefully collecting knowledge just has.
Oh,
That
Just has a
is
bunch of.
perfect.
yes.
That is fucking
Last-
perfect.
Last time we couldn't roll above 10 to save our lives, and now we're
No,
just
I'm
rolling
still
20s.
Yeah.
rolling dog shit.
You spend your entire life carefully collecting knowledge, and a bunch of hobo shows up and just starts dropping arcane, ancient knowledge you've sought after your entire
we got
life
this
like
from
it's
God
nothing.
himself. Yeah.
Oh, this? Oh, we got like tons of these.
Yeah, look, I could just break this one. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It's a big pile, I know.
Yeah, so Gord, you see Gord going through like a bit of a fugue state, and he starts like sorting all of them, and suddenly for the first time you see like a chronological order. You see, you realize now as well that these are different places. These are pictures taken at different locations, but they all look similar, very similar. And Gord, you realize, yeah, you don't know all of these people. You remember them. You have seen them. They're work friends of your wife. And you immediately take out a one of the pictures and you grab that one. Like, you yourself don't realize how hard you're grabbing it. You're like, your knuckles are starting to turn white. That's her.
Muted.
Yeah, that's her. And
Do I remember her name?
yeah, Sith.
Oh, that's it.
Oh.
What? Gord, did you
Oh.
Gord, did you say Sid?
That's
Who is
her.
she to you?
That's my
Sit-
wife.
sit-
That's his wife. That's
Sit
our
away.
wife. That's
Sitwe, you mean?
what
Yeah.
actually. Decay.
Yeah,
Cithweh.
yep.
What did we do?
Gord, do you still remember the entity that invaded my body in the island?
Wait,
The
which
soul?
entity?
Back
Yeah,
on the island.
on the
There
yeah
was a woman we encountered.
on the desk. She had a desk.
Yes, that was Sitwe. We freed her. She was
I will-
going to visit
yeah,
a
I will
friend.
focus on that memory, on that moment, and it all connects, doesn't it?
Do I see
Yeah,
any
it's her.
reaction from Tano as they're discussing?
He is very intently studying all of this. And he is still a bit bemused and bewildered. And then you grab another one, and this is Sith with a man. Also short blonde hair and a military uniform. But this is not Seth. You realize, you know, this is Peter. This is Kadarnax. This is Peter Kadarn. And they are standing together smiling. And a young boy, about less than 4, maybe 5 years old, is in between them. And you know that to be your son, because that's probably one of the last times you saw him.
What's his name? Do I
Cianiel.
remember? Cianiel.
That's the second word
The
of the 3
second
words
name.
that he
Yeah.
Yes.
showed you. It brought laugh, but also
With
regret.
Daniel Gate 6. It's his life. It's who he was before.
How long have you been carrying
You
these around?
realize as well, I will say, because you rolled a natural 20 and I'll give you the fucking full beans. Who do you think was the photographer of all of these? Because,
Was it me?
yeah. On one of them, you can even see a little finger over the lens.
And I've been
And-
carrying it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you see facilities, but you also see, you mostly see workplace environments. You see things where, because you're, as you remember, because fuck it, why not? Well, she was always at work. And those few moments you had together because you were in the military. So all of this, and this is like breaking your brain, because these emotions and all of this is like being pulled from where they never were before. And at one of them, you sort of have to piece together. You see a subterranean city. And you see 2 large spiked arches that never fit the picture. Because there's always this beam, and sometimes there's somebody standing up on a balcony, and all of the city is underground. You see someone standing up a balcony, and you see this large beam still go off, because they were never the focus. There's one where you see Sith walking back, where you see the start of this large arch. And as you puzzle them together, you realize that this must have been hundreds of feet. A large portal, a large gate. underneath the surface somewhere. And that is how I will say as well. Then this is the last thing you get. In one of the pictures, you don't see the cavern wall, but you see a city continue through this gate. And on the surface, you see large dunes of black sand. And it looks like it is just a tunnel going straight through when the gate is active.
Is it the place we were back in the day in the Underdark?
I will say
Could I
the
please
buildings
back
were
then?
very similar. But perhaps a little older, still less technological.
I will take out the map of the strange world, which we found like 2-3 years ago
Yeah.
as a player, and I will just put it in front of Gord. What do you make of this? Do the names, are they familiar to him? You?
You look at the map, and it is of a strange world with a few large continents. And for him, this is also ancient history. This is something he saw in history books.
Yeah, I would say that.
Oh, this is old. This is valuable. I'll put it away.
And you also remember learning in school about the breaking of the planet and how that map was no longer relevant after the torrents of magic and demonic energies that reshaped this world.
Kreeg ik gewoon op school, of wat?
Lager onderwijs, hè.
Lager onderwijs, ja.
Well, this is the world where the arcane dawn took place. I believe. The planet dawn.
Arcane and then Planner.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Ja. Ja, maar er is een grote lore drop.
Tano
Yeah,
will have
didn't
more
plan on
question
it.
marks, and you'll see Nolan making, oh yeah, oh yes, oh cool, oh
Yeah.
my,
I'm
yes.
just reading books.
Yeah, well,
You're
let's face it, Dario, Dario's brain wouldn't have handled this very well.
Oh,
Every time
I would be staring at the
No.
ceiling. La-di-da.
no one just goes, "Oh yes, of course," and Tano Asir goes, "What does he mean, of course?"
What does that guy know?
Cassius's takeaway is there is a guy called Cadernax, and he was there, so we need to find him and ask him to explain all of this because he was there.
Do you know who Karanex is? Cassius.
Well,
Uh,
I'll tell him later.
Never. You see Cassius make a face that by
Yeah,
now
but-
you recognize, and it means he's gonna have questions about this later for
Yeah.
Nolan, and then
Yeah.
for Dario to explain what Nolan meant when he started explaining.
So at that point, Tano Asir will go, "May I have a copy of these?"
Well, you didn't want to collaborate.
En in een boek gegeven, hè, gast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that was before the war.
Look, as a token of good faith and collaboration in this world problem, I think we can let you have a copy with these, but I really need those back. I cannot part with them.
Oh, no problem at all. He snaps his fingers, and there is a flash. Nah, that's all it took.
Why do you do that?
Did you just scan that stuff?
Oh,
would you
something
like-
I've been
how-
working on over the years.
Wait, are those exact copies?
Oh, I need that.
Perfect duplicate? And the photo?
No,
of-
the only thing you saw was a flash, and nothing more. So he has stored the information somewhere.
Look, I can sell those pictures for like thousands of gold a pop if you can like endlessly copy them. We're rich.
I would advise against spreading information of this. There are not many who are privy to the information you are simply bathing in, apparently.
You don't know the half of it.
Well,
Apparently
I learned,
not.
Insult.
I learned a few years ago, 1 year ago, you should get out more.
A single eye twitch is your response to that. Very well. It seems we are at a paradigm shift event. It's not often that those of your caliber arrive. To what end, to calamity or to salvation, is quite impossible to calculate. For now, we shall hope it is the former.
Let's hope so.
Oh, did I say salvation first? I don't even remember. My brain is fried. That I would have known. Let's suspend our experimentation for today. And he snaps his fingers again, and you are back in the library like it's simply a single moment. And there you see Dario on the little desk going through the books.
Am I able to gauge if Gord is reacting to my light or how much of the demonic presence I sense in him from what I saw on the plane?
Right
Not that I
now,
want to be adversarial towards Gord, but
No.
just for the character's sake.
you can do another insight check for me.
It's take it all off now.
No. No. This is just passively. This is still the same person that he was. This is still whatever this is. But you see that his body language has changed somewhat. It is more at the ready. It's more trained. It looks more purposeful. But it is still the same entity, and it has not diminished or grown in power. Except for the level up. Oh.
And in Gord, you would also see like finally some form of understanding in the character. It used to be like this big spirit, and now he's making clicks, and it's sort of ease on him. Okay, I'm getting closer to what this thing is that holds him.
What you should tell me everything about what you saw, how you saw it, interactions. I want to know.
Is Gord really getting
no.
Stockholm Syndrome now?
It doesn't love him, but his understanding is important. Yeah, and I would share everything with Noel and everyone, and I would
Well,
take
later
notes of all
on,
the
not
pictures.
now.
Well, you can.
Could
I see
we-
Nolan popping out again. I see Nolan. You can't believe what I just
Put
found.
away those stupid books. That's not irrelevant.
This is the first time, and perhaps the only time, that you have heard Nolan say, "Put away the books."
This
To
I
a
am.
reading Daria.
Is
They
Tano,
might be
Tano seems-
relevant.
Tano is still here, right?
Yeah.
Because I did have a question. I guess earlier you said Gord's soul is not taken, but parts of the other guy's soul is walking the earth in this body here. What do you mean by that? Is Gord's soul... Where is it then if it's not here and not taken?
I don't know. It is Currently, my understanding is simply that who you have before you here is not your companion. They are, for better or for worse, pretending or do not know. And he's locking eyes with Gord as he's saying that.
So, if you were to regain more memories, would this might this be a problem for Gord as such? If he awakens the entity.
And you see, like, Tano's been very dainty with his hands, and now he balls them, and you see him tense. Although his face doesn't really belie this. I don't know.
That's
I-
oddly familiar.
I go to Nolan for a second and I go, Nolan, remember when you were on about the whole we all have two souls and then there's an older soul inside of us that can take us over? Like, you had a way to
Yes,
stop
yes,
that.
well,
Is there any
yes.
chance that will work
Well,
here then?
well, I have no idea. This is not an elder god.
It's not?
Maybe it could work. I have no. But then again, is this really God's body?
Well, he was not a
That's-
gray blob before, right?
But how is it possible that his soul is not here, but still his memories and his character are
See,
here?
that's what I don't get, because this thing.
So maybe his soul is here, but
Sorry.
it's being taken captive.
It's
Is there a
It has
theological
Gord's
explanation
memories.
for this, or
Sorry?
is there a theological explanation for what they're trying to figure out between the both of them?
Honestly? Make a religion roll for the fun of it. There might be an answer there. 16. I mean, as you have studied, there is the creation of form, and then there is the creation of a soul. And you know this through your teachings, and that your God is capable of creating many things. And sometimes they are indeed forms without a soul. But they can still act as though they are homunculi or clones or mimics. And those creatures, well, are not really considered anything but what you see here is a fully sentient creature, but it is sharing in memories. It is a part of something. What you can surmise, what you can surmise
yeah.
is that there is still a tether to the soul, and you know of such spells, you know of such magics that imprison a soul. Whether or not this is really Gord, or just a remote projection of him, a reverse astral projection, or some such, you don't know. Because you don't know what kind of magic is at play here, because this is a deal with, indeed, an elder entity.
Mm-hmm. How long,
Okay.
DM, how long would it have been since we were on the island?
Ironically, probably like 2-3 weeks or something like that, not much less than that.
Okay, so I
Not
would
much
still
more than that.
remember vividly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, because you dropped the hint or two there.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in assuming that in theory I could use the scrolls to conjure Gord the new body and put his soul back there so he can be himself again?
If you have access to the soul.
We're just gonna make a new Gord? Is that what we're doing?
Core
No, no, no.
2.0, a bit taller.
Again,
3.0.
layered answer there.
If
So in
everybody,
I can recreate Gord's body. I just need his soul to put back in there.
Yeah, I know, and then that was Cassius has been operating under the assumption that Gord's soul is somewhere, and we're just gonna pull off some kind of soul heist and steal back his soul from wherever it was. But
you're not really good at heist.
we need to confirm that it still exists, Gord's soul, and then where it is.
Yeah, I also might blow myself up while doing this, but
Yeah, and then while I'm trying to figure that out, you just go, well, I could just make a new Gord, I just
no,
need to
this
know."
is out of character, by the way.
Okay.
I disagree.
Can you
Anything
like
said here
alter?
is
Can you,
real.
like,
Yeah,
alter
okay, but I
soul?
was just having a brain fart, and I think
Yeah.
I caught a hint there, and I just wanted to make sure that I was connecting dots correctly.
No, Cassius
I
has been
am-
trying to figure this out in character because he's very confused and trying desperately to understand
Yeah.
things about souls and realms and
I'm reading my
magic
books
and
again.
This was
mystical
not Boris
artifacts that somehow we know exist and have in our back pocket.
This
That's
is
just
not
basically
Boris asking. This is the player asking to
Mhm.
see if I'm connecting correctly.
Yeah.
Because this thing, I keep saying thing now, which I feel like is offensive somehow to not Gord. I don't know, but you have Gord's memories. You act the way I would expect Gord to act. So there is.
If I focus on my memories, childhood memories, growing up in Nosod, my sisters, the
Yeah.
bakery around the corner, they're all
It's all
there.
there.
He's got everything.
You're Gord.
So what's the problem, Cassius?
But the problem is the wizard saying that this is not God, but something's else, and at the very least, God's soul is not here, which I'm not at home in these things, but
Me neither.
your soul is kind of important. And if it's not there, then what is there?
Well, we've had the discussion like two times before. It's. I don't think we know. Any of us know the answer.
It's like a shoe. A shoe without a sole is complete trash.
Are you calling me trash, Dario?
No.
You
I
want to fight?
think
Because
you
I've
are
got some rage left from
I
earlier.
think you're incomplete.
A shoe without a
need to
soul,
fix
my
that.
lord.
Quite. So, all of this, of course, has been very enlightening and perhaps a bit frightening. But it does bring us to the point of your quarry. You have a target, a man who is wielding the magics that originated because of the people that we have just mentioned. The one to cause it, the one to create the very calamity that brought the gods to this world. And you are to face him and his student.
Kirk said.
Well, I was talking of Sath and Black Lenners, but yes.
Yes, I thought we were meaning that, but
Yeah,
I was
but
confused because you
Kirksarian is
said
a
Kirksarian,
student
but
as-
I was like, yes.
He'll be
Kirk
Kirksarian
there.
is a
as well.
student as well, no?
Perhaps.
Or a pupil of somebody else.
He'll be close anyway.
Oh well.
Right, Seth,
Sorry.
and then not Gord, maybe Gord hates Sathiane because that's the betrayer. That's the one who betrayed Ante, who is now Gord. Right? I've got everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
easy.
Starting to get this,
And-
guys.
This mage, this warlock, is currently, to the best of your understanding, constructing a gate as such that existed in the time before the planet dawn. With the help of the betrayer. So all of this is quite relevant. Obviously, they must be stopped. However, interestingly enough, they of course possess a pact stone, which, to my understanding, is limitless in its arcane potential, and of course the cost of the horrendous use of souls and perhaps beckoning the very swarm to this world. Small drawbacks in the light of things, is it not?
Might I pose a question here, my good sir, mage?
Please.
Is there an active link between the Sunstone and the Pact Stone?
That is, again, speculation. One harnesses divinity, harnesses the power of a god. It extracts filtered power. The other destroys souls to gain the same access to that divinity, or at least to the origin of Arcana. They are similar perhaps in power, if used correctly, but there are some stipulations, some rituals that have to be followed for the Sunstone. Those using the Pact Stone are only limited by imagination.
Do you have any literature on the Sunstones? I'm very intrigued in them.
Perhaps, but you were... Does he know that you have the scriptures? No.
Yep. They're still safe in my pocket, as I was warned by Obrick.
Yeah. And he again produces, and this is a book. You're probably more well versed in such manners than this book. This is simply an account of the cults of Xena. I mean, no offense. And describing the cult of Helios and their worship of these stones, and that they were indeed used to some effect to create the seals of Dun Modred and a lot of the Modred Adan places to guard the Underdark with sunlight.
Do we have any info on the creation of the Sunstones?
Not in this literature, no.
Is there any place that might hold any information or knowledge about this?
There is one place, perhaps, and that would be the holy city in Xena, which is the largest shrine to Helios, as we know.
That's on the other continent, or
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I deduce that I just need to work my way through the scrolls to get the info.
probably, yeah.
Okay. Which I don't say out loud.
No. So, barring the stipulations said before, all of this has been very enlightening, and I thank you for sharing this information and this experience. Now, there are two things that I can offer you. One that still weighs heavily upon my heart. One, I was already planning to give you and he puts forward a paper that he just produces out of thin air. And Nolan, you see a teleportation circle.
Thank you. I was going to ask. Where to?
This is a trifle, really. The teleportation circle of the Royal Library of Olosso. Whether it's guarded or not is not known to me, but not many possess this sigil, and it is perhaps even considered a royal secret still, only known to a select few mages. But I managed to acquire it. I am a bit of a collector myself, you see.
Would the Archmage in Olosso know of this teleportation circle?
Yes. But he does not know it has been
we
perhaps shared over the years.
Need.
I also must stipulate, this is one from my personal collection. I do not hand it out, and neither should you.
Yoink. No.
I'll just take a look at it. Okay, I got it.
Really?
I start copying it from memory.
Nolan, you would have been a good student. He puts away the sigil. And then...
Student or a copy machine?
yeah, exactly. Like, your fingers would have been reduced to little nubs for him. After the event that has occurred here, I will give you something in confidence as well.
I whisper to Nolan, events? What event?
He produces a case. A lead box that is floating in the air heavily. You can actually see him cast telekinesis because it is heavy, and he uses telekinesis to lift it. And it lands on the desk with a heavy thud. He places his hand on it and casts this spell at a high level. Gets it first try, 18. Then produces 2 keys and opens it. 2 keys disappear again.
Yeah.
As it opens, again with telekinesis, it just hits the table, the lid. And there, he speaks a pass key in Celestial, which is not relevant, I'm not going to bother, but it's just simply a little nursery rhyme. And there, a sigil gets burned into a piece of paper. And he puts it forward to you, Nolan. Actually, no, he waits for a moment, puts it back in the box. You are well acquainted with Daniel Tennis and Joran Spartel. You are well acquainted with the ages of this world.
Yes. I am.
You are also acquainted with the event that caused the Arcane Dawn to begin with, yes?
Project Helios.
That. And...
Well, and the abstract-minded man with
yes.
the Severness explosion, yes.
Indeed. The beginnings of magic on this world were deciphered from those initial sigils, yes?
Yes.
And it was then solidified by the mage Zexazar.
Who is also still alive.
Indeed. I present you that sigil that was drawn, the first magic on this world, was a teleportation circle. And it leads to Severnus.
Dang.
Did Geronimus did use this magic circle, or were the signs this madman in his institution was writing on the walls, were those the teleportation circle?
These are this is deduced from the original drawings.
Would you know if this man is still alive? I've been pondering about this question. Everyone from that age seems to be more or less alive, and I haven't read anything about this.
Very
Man.
little is known. And no, this is information not known to me. As far as I am concerned, the only ones that are still around, well, we do not know of the whereabouts of Tennis. We know Barthel's still around, Kadanax.
Yeah, Tennis
Have-
disappeared.
Yes. I wish to give you this because you are bound for this fate. I have had this in my possession for many years, and I have not had the heart to try.
Oh.
Do not wish to give this to one of my students. I do not know where this leads, except for a dead world with an old god. But there is a price. I have helped you out of the good of my heart and out of the necessity for the future of this world. But I am these days a politician, am I not? If you leave here today with the information you have, then Greven and the Greven Legion will work on an alliance of the Illysh Republic. I want my magistrates, my ambassadors, to reach Greven with your blessing. I am trying to reconstitute the world that was left behind by the Nataran Empire, and I am quite serious in my duty. We have been left to the wiles of old nobles and old bloods that are ignorant and uneducated, plotting about with things they do not understand. We are besieged, we are under attack. Our world is floundering and is a wisp of what it was before. And you will be my agents for this.
I will send a message to our Lord Kephalos. But Greven will, of course, remain Greven. It will, as you say, it will be a collaboration between the cities, not a dictatorship of one to the other. This Greven will never agree to.
Won't I? You will see I can be quite persuasive. Most
cannot-
nobility can be bought up. Sorry?
Yeah, we cannot decide on such matters. We can offer you an introduction, but
And why not? Why not? You are clearly the elite of what Greven has to offer. You have waded into the reality of this world, not like simple paupers. If
we
anything,
cannot have rights to decide anything just because we have power. It's not the most powerful that are most capable to lead.
But it
Those
is often
things
the
do
ones
not-
who are leading.
but you would agree, the most intelligent and well-educated.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know Hall of Greven. I cannot make such assumptions.
I know myself, so yes, of course.
Nolan's probably the most educated of us. Probably, but
Not because he read a book, he's educated.
Lord Keflos is
easy
a
to
good
come.
man. He's a good leader.
Then he will see truth and he will see logic.
Perhaps.
He's a man of reason. He's a man of logic.
I can send him a message tomorrow, informing him that some agents will arrive.
They will the very moment you send the message. Thank you.
Ah,
Well, where are you teleporting to?
We have had scouts. They know the location. A simple pebble will do with high enough teleportation magic.
Okay.
frankly, I don't really care what happens to the city, be it their own city, be it a part of the Illysh Republic. As long as the people are treated well, we have other things to worry about.
And of course, I also expect to be briefed. You are still, you, Dario and Gold, for better or for worse, you are still at the disposal of the Illysh Republic for crimes committed. And I expect at least the two of you, if not the rest of your troop, to report all findings. Information is power, and I require it from you.
I think that at this point, speaks by itself. We will cooperate.
About those crimes.
Oh no,
No,
Yeah,
don't
so
bring it up,
going to
Gord.
jail.
It has been settled.
And you see Gord wrestling internally. No. And I'll look at my friends and what looks do they give me?
No, just don't.
Ron,
No.
Let it rest. That's what
I'm looking in No's looking to a book. He really doesn't give it.
You hear
mean, we are
Cassius's
free
voice in your
walking.
head go,
I'm
you have the
giving you-
right to remain silent. I heavily recommend you use it.
I give you this look that only your parents can give me. If you don't shut up now, there's no PlayStation for a month.
No.
PlayStation is a device he does remember.
That's Ollie.
Just this intense
Yeah.
look. I'm burning through your skull. Just shut up.
Oh no.
Okay, never mind then.
I'm imagining Gort like about that, and then immediately 4 people go.
Like,
No.
yeah.
And then I'll just shut up.
I'm gonna ask the Archmage. Instead of reporting back to you, isn't there a way? I mean, all the magic you have, to just track me and like see what I'm seeing. And
Well, that ability was blocked some time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were using an item to not be
The
scribed.
amulets, but then they took it off like a
Yes.
week ago or something.
Oh.
Because they like to live
Yeah.
dangerously.
I think we removed them because we
Gord
thought,
wanted his
well,
ring
we're-
of evasion.
we're
Yeah,
so far
true,
in
true.
the north.
Yeah.
Compared
What was
north.
the ring?
Ring of evasion. We
Am
got
I
plenty of
wearing
magic
it?
stuff.
I can see. Am I wearing it?
You no longer wanted to attune to the magic amulet, protecting you from scrying, because you wanted
Yeah.
to have your ring of evasion.
Yeah.
And ring of
Ah,
evasion.
true.
Which
saved
true.
my-
highly
So apparently
disagree
I
with.
wasn't briefed on that yet. No, yeah,
Well, look at that.
So-
Well,
yeah. No, the Thanos says that. They're like, oh well.
And when he
Uh,
removed it, I removed it as well because there was no
Yeah.
point in wearing it when he has.
Actually, now that because my brain's so fried, that's exactly the reason why they could arrest you or pick you out so quick, because you were still back in there. Yes, well, we can and we do regularly. Just normal checkups, interested parties.
When I look at Gord, I told you so.
Yeah,
But
but
you wanted to have the ring,
the ring of evasion saved me from a lot of damage, by the way.
but you
Last fight.
still ended up dying anyway. So
No, last fight, yeah.
He got better.
I got better. What's the problem?
So, if you will be continually at my disposal, then, and he holds up the paper. with a sigil on it.
I'm very interested. But what do you mean with continuously? Don't expect us to blink, come at you in the blink of an eye like slaves. We will find a slot and inform
Slaves
you
hardly.
accordingly.
Slaves hardly. But you are too caught up in important events that you are to be left unsupervised. This little encounter with God is more proof of that than I can muster.
I
Well,
think from your perspective, that's a fair
mhm.
argument. Indeed.
I, however, don't see you as our supervisor. I see you as our peer with common interests, and we will share as agreed.
Well then,
If you offer us cooperation, it will get you far much information than you being our supervisor.
Fine, get bogged down in semantics.
Pretty
politicians, that's what politicians do, isn't it? Semantics.
We are executive assistants.
No. I'm assistant
That's
to
not
the
how-
regional manager.
That's not how that works.
I'm not the assistant manager. I'm assistant to the manager.
To the regional manager.
Right, enough. I've entertained this for quite some time. Again, this was fruitful and very interesting. You are, of course, guests of Illysh. You may move around the city freely. And correct people, well, the right people have been made aware of your presence and who you are. I don't think it'll pose any problems anymore.
Oh,
Don't spread my name too much.
there goes Robin. Finally decided to go to the magic shop. There goes another session.
Yes.
Ah,
Just
You're
a
free to go magic shop.
just a
I'll tell
question.
him.
Our goal, our immediate goal, is still to get back into Oloso
Yes.
and
Yes,
retrieve the souls,
and
the pact.
that's why we
stone,
got the
right?
teleportation circle.
Yes.
And what we do after that remains to be seen.
Let's
See?
handle that when / if we survive going back to Oloso and stealing a
Exactly.
pact stone.
That is
Or
most
you-
paramount.
Speaking
And
of
I-
which, Boris, you hear Cassius's voice inside your head asking, "Do you think
Finally.
we should tell him about that sword so he can put it in his giant lead box with all the locks and stuff?"
Is it big enough, the box?
Ours isn't
The
your
box is
soul
about this
bound-
big, but maybe he has others.
Isn't your soul bound to the blade at the moment?
It kind
I-
of
I am 80% sure it's not.
No, you broke attunement. You broke attunement.
Because I immediately attuned, but then it ripped off and part of my skin came with it. And I no longer. I feel weird when you cast Divine Magic on me, but I'm not physically ill anymore, so I think it's fine.
You're not
Yeah,
technically
the-
attuned.
Okay.
The
yeah.
big question is then how much do you trust the guy?
See, I'm not very good at that. That's why I'm asking you.
We're using
Mm,
we're giving a magic user who already defies the gods and wants to approach the power of the gods by wielding magic, and you want him to give him the one weapon that allows him the gods the
Yes,
power
but
to
the
destroy
yes, I know,
gods.
but the alternative is that I keep carrying it with me into very dangerous battles with entities that are definitely evil.
I like that one.
which also have their gods, which you can destroy with the sword you wield.
Okay, no, that's fair.
think it's respect.
Okay,
Are you
then I just
or-
keep
No,
it
No,
with
no,
me,
they are
and then
telepathically gonna.
okay.
I'm not saying you should risk your soul or use it. But again, if you release it somewhere, you're giving somebody the power to destroy gods. And Who knows?
I am well aware. My best plan so far is to abandon everyone and everything and just go live in a hole somewhere, ensuring that nobody ever wields the sword.
Then how come you're contemplating giving it to the mage now?
Because I don't want to go live in a hole for the rest of
Good point.
And I feel like I could still contribute into whatever you guys need to do.
You're not a true samurai.
I am not.
Wasn't
I am,
wasn't the
I am,
sword
however, permanently true neutral now.
wasn't the sword supposed to go to Enromast, if I remember correctly? But oh well.
I don't know.
I don't think that would have been a very good idea.
Give an angry
give
man
it
the
good
power to
hacks.
kill gods.
Would have been amazing.
There have been times where I was close, out of
just
character. There have been times where I was close to just give it to Gord and say, go ham, baby.
Yes, again,
I
but
really
he's
wonder
an
what would happen
average.
there.
You murder that Sathiane and everybody who's wronged you, and then we'll figure out what to do after.
So you now basically we got, if I'm not mistaken, we basically just got the teleportation circle, Sigil, for Olosso, but also I assume Nolan got a peek on it and knows how it works.
Yeah, he's been given a
Yeah,
peek, and then it's back in the box.
to
The mystical-
Severnus, where the
mystical
Elder
realm
God
of
resides.
Severnus.
That's holding Gord's soul at the moment.
That
Yes,
elder god being Ante, correct?
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty
And
good.
you have the one weapon
Mhm.
that can destroy this being.
This is a very intense staring contest that's happening between Boris and Cassius, by the way.
Yeah.
So, dependent how risk prone you are and how confident we feel we can actually destroy a god who is opposed in almost every way to my god.
True.
Which
One
begs
small
the
problem.
question.
Great swords are not really my thing. Like, I can wield it, but I kind of suck with it. But I'll be honest.
It's called multi-classing.
When you listen, when you wield null, you are proficient with it.
Yes, I'm proficient,
Yeah.
but like, that's it. My strength modifier is negative, I'm pretty sure. Yes. And I have no sneak attack, and a lot of the effects require me to land a killing blow.
Fair.
But yeah, I can wield it, and it's not even two-handed because it's versatile, and I am proficient with it. But like, I have only a +5 on the attack roll, and a -1 on the damage roll.
Again, you're not at the point of stabbing the sword in the guy's heart. I just ask you, contemplate what you're
Mhm.
about to give up. Because there's evil beings on this world. But again, I might be slightly biased. As the hate I felt for the sigil I saw.
Mhm.
And why I casted
understand
my
that.
spell to block us out.
I'm just wondering, are we going to need it when we go fight Black Lenas? Because there is a good chance that we don't come back from that. And the last thing we need is Black Lenas looting our bodies and going, hey, here's a sword that kills gods. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Might break his connection to the Pact Stone.
You're suggesting we use it on him then?
Maybe, I don't know. Through my studies, I've been handed power that might help us
Because
with
the whole...
containing Black Lenas.
Ja. Heel het gedoe met Null is niet aan bod gekomen met NOS hier, hè? Maar niemand van ons heeft hem daar iets over
Nee, maar
gezegd.
iedereen dat wel weten dat
It did
actief aan het
not
vragen
in
is
any
van
way, like...
Nul is
The
iets waar we
sword is
beter
it's
over
completely
zwijgen.
different. Dat it was completely
Mhm.
niet gerelateerd aan alles wat hier al aan bod gekomen is. Hè?
Ja,
Allee,
en
as
dat
far
is-
as we
wel.
know.
Onrechtstreeks
Ja,
wel, want
maar
de
dat-
plaats waar we de foto's hebben gevonden is ook de
Ja.
plaats waar dat er een pedestal was, waar dat nul normaal op moet
Ja, maar
staan.
we
Ja,
kunnen
en
daar-
ik ging ervan
we
uit
kunnen
inderdaad dat het ding dat de demons zochten, dat Kirksanian zocht, dat hij niet wist wat dat hem zocht. I'm assuming that is null.
Maar ja, we kunnen erover praten als we in party ergens anders zijn dan de library.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
here where everybody is watching us. Yes,
Yes.
obviously. That's why this is all happening in my head.
Ja, het is erom. Maar opnieuw, ik wil ook
Oh,
gewoon
someone
aanbieden
is
van
not
kijk,
listening
Uh-huh.
dit is hoe Boris het bekijkt.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Maar Boris is misschien ook de slechtste persoon om dat aan te vragen, want ik zie
Inderdaad.
een tool om iets dat
You
volledig
see
op
it as a
ons is
no.
geweest.
You see it as a tool that can be used.
Yeah, and as well, I have. as
He's
stated
worshipping
before,
God.
Boris doesn't know yet, but Boris, in theory, can create a new body for Gord. He just needs the soul to put in there.
Mhm.
He can
Just
choose.
need
I
his
want to be a
soul.
fairy or an elf or whatever the fuck he wants to be. I will create
Be
it for
male,
him.
male.
Something with longer legs.
And the only issue is I might need some people sacrificing their life and such. So it's kind of.
I only need
Small
his soul
setback.
and some human sacrifices. That's all.
I love it when our DM gives us morally gray options.
Boris goes,
Hey!
Cassius, you can't ask why, but I need some human sacrifices. And Cassius
Our
goes,
DM told
you
us.
can't
in the
ask
very-
how, but I'll get them.
Our DM told us in the very, very first session, my world is grey, not black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, give it a
No, because then he would be
Yes.
Peter Molyneux.
I know.
Oh, wie heet die hem op?
Boris about to make
Ah.
Helios the one true god by just killing all the other gods.
That's a path forward, yeah.
And then I become divine because I have all the sunstones and I kill Helios myself. No, let's not go down that route. I'm not doing it. It's
And this is the
joking.
guy who goes, did you really need to murder that guy? Maybe we should have just captured him.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could have used that soul.
Again,
Waste of a perfectly good soul.
again, if I need souls, I know who the mass murderer is. I need to convince. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not wake up on a body on a mountain of bodies. And Mr. Cassius.
Just for the record, I did not kill those bodies. I then dropped a lot of bodies because I woke up on a mountain of dead bodies, but that is unrelated, and I feel like it's a little disingenuous.
Those
that you
were
keep...
precursor bodies. They were.
Conjunction is a thing. That's all.
I did not kill that pile of bodies. I have dropped a
Yes,
pile of
yes.
bodies, but that was not that one.
We'll see you
brought
in the
my
court
own.
of law.
You can't prove anything.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
no, but
we
then
did our
Cassius,
shtick, we
after
did our
this
shtick.
discussion, Cassius goes, that seems fair. I guess the risk is worth it to hold on it just in case we ever need to use it. Because we can't very well quickly hop back and go, wait here, evil god. We're going to grab our one weapon that can kill you real quick in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
city on
There's-
the other side. Yeah.
And there's also the question, what does it do to the swarm, as these are more closely
I
related
did.
to demon
I
god?
hit the swarm with it once when right before Gord not died, I guess.
No, you
Yeah.
hit some kind of planar demon, no? Or
That was the
No.
swarm's entity that I hit with it, I think.
Yeah. Big dude.
Bug-like creatures.
It reacted pretty badly to it.
Yeah.
As in, it did not
So-
like it and it focused me immediately because of it, I think. If I
Mhm.
recall correctly.
there's also that. Just saying.
Uh,
Lots of bad juju, and the one thing that can hurt it is in your.
that's fair. Yeah, okay, then we should hold on to it. And
Alright.
if I die, then it's someone else's problem to deal with.
But
I'm
again,
long
after
for
killing
death,
me.
so I do not. I don't have to make these decisions. Yeah.
But again, I might be the worst person to ask.
Interesting.
Boris heeft veel meer strength, hè. Kan die dat niet gebruiken?
Ja,
Yeah,
en dan
the
mijn
problem. No,
connectie.
the problem is when you attune
I
to
know.
it, you immediately lose your.
I know,
I've
yeah.
warned all of you about this that it immediately severs your connection to
Yeah.
any kind of god.
Als Boris dat vastpakt, dan word ik effectief gewoon een fighter.
Wait, hold up. I'm still not actually because like when you attune, your soul is forever tainted and it won't be accepted into the afterlife by anyone unless you repent. So I'm not even sure if dying would solve Cassius's problems.
You know, there was one character that had encountered Null before, and
Yes.
he's still in Null also.
And he's turning cobblestones upside down.
Yeah. He's
There
perfectly
was a
sane.
moment where Cassius considered offering that up as a trade for Black Lenas or mentioning it just to get his attention.
Hey,
To then stab him in the back afterwards, of course, but you know.
All right.
I think so.
So, with that, I wish you the best of luck. Any assistance we can give. Sadly, again, the political connotations need to be considered, sadly, as overreach will weaken us as an organization. And to be quite fair, although you are important and I wish to assist you, time is of the essence, and the city of Alosso is not that dear to my plans. So whatever happens there, well, we'll make the most of it. So I bid you good luck. I bid you good day.
I said good day.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Sorry.
I know a
I don't
place
mess
where
up.
we can stay safely. In Illysh.
May we still use the library?
If you require information or books to a certain topic, then you may request it with one of my students. And it will be provided for.
Thank you. These were a very interesting read.
The books float up, and a student quickly comes running up and grabs them and takes them away. Well then, as long as you are in the city, you are, of course, the books provided, you can still read them. There you are. So, thank you very much. And I shall now return you to the town. And he will again snap his fingers, say a few words, and you are teleported, or at least plane shifted, by the hand of Tanoasir himself, to exactly where you left. You are back in this circular chamber with grass and trees, a desk, and there, sitting at the desk, is a quite nervous. There we go. And I'm actually going to grab this.
Never get used to this.
Yeah, you are wrenched away. You are pulled from another reality and dropped into a new one. And this is the wrong file. That's why I couldn't. There we go. And there sits Stephen Moore and the very nervous Obrick Siltfallen.
Hello.
You also see, I would say, yeah, Gale would still be around as well, the druid.
Ah. A question. How long were we gone? I mean, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months?
Centuries.
I mean, we have had
Inside
experience
You look really
before.
good for.
It's not the first time we ended up in another plane and then time passed away.
True that.
No, you were gone for about an hour or so.
Oh, all right.
Time doesn't change differently in that plane.
Just checking.
Time goes by quickly if you're having fun.
And did you?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
We've
These
been
less-
full access.
he's less, well, uptight than I would have expected.
Well, regardless, and Stephen Moore will say, regardless of that conversation or whatever conversation you've had with Tano, they are yours, and not necessarily mine to know. not my business. All I know is you've been granted access to the city and you may be let out. You can only know what kind of deal you've struck, but I don't need to know. So, Oberek. Oh, yes. What? You are still connected to these folk. They are considered your charges for the foreseeable future. You, of course, report whatever is relevant to me, but as far as you're concerned, as long as they're in the city, they are your problem. The Alosso account, being the way it is also considered, well, within your purview.
Means it's your problem.
Well,
Yes, well...
Starting to regret you.
it's dumped for him.
Good. I shall be your chaperone.
Oh, no need. I know the city.
I shall still be your chaperone.
You.
I want to look at him and go, do you think you can stop us if we want to do anything really?
The guy saved our lives.
Everyone run in a different direction. Go!
The guy saved our butts.
Well, but you're not sleeping where we're sleeping.
Yes, but I understand
please
he
no.
saved their lives, but I just want to take him down just a notch because he was way too confident and arrogant before.
Listen, as long as you're in the city, there is not far where you can run. The illusion of freedom is quite pervasive. As to Alosso, I'm not expected to actually go with them, am I? Because, well, I did promise them a way back, and it's even more. You are just gear up on whatever stealth spells you can and try to be as non-invasive as you can. Of course, I would say I have been given the information that you have been given access into the city and not around the city as was first planned. I would say, Oberek, it would be best you stay at a distance and be able to intervene if necessary in a similar way you did before. Yes, stealth and sneaking, it's mine and Undra's best aspect. Good. Please. I think enough of this stale air. Let's see the city.
Is there still one of those assistants around where we could require ask for information?
From the library, whatever you are looking for.
Want more information?
Yeah, from the library, yeah.
We just got dumped the whole shit.
Yeah.
The whole town.
What
Yes,
exactly
but
are you looking for?
I I was looking for information on an item on the legendary Shield of Tormodon.
All
the,
right.
the scale of Tormodon with the scale of the Red Dragon fused together, wielded by the Cobalt Hero.
Fairy tales. How quaint. Thank you. I thought you were going to ask me some earth-shattering thing. Do we? I mean, you'd probably be best looking at in the cathedrals, I guess. We more sort of pride ourselves on factual information rather than, it's
I'm pretty sure it's real.
Very good idea.
of course, but
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'll say to him like, have you not in the last 24 hours seen things that you consider to be fairy tales or impossible before?
Oh no, on the contrary. I am deeply, deeply afraid of all those things and all the worst case scenarios ever since I started studying here. I mean, yeah.
Huh.
Yes. But yeah, Tormodon, Golden Dragons, that's all very fancy. But I apologize if this is your brand of religion, but honestly, you'd probably be best looking at the archives of. There is a large church of Tormodon in the city proper, so they really love some visitors, I'm sure.
To know, yeah. Okay, I want to visit that later then.
Right then, to the outside. And I assure you, there is one. And walks out, and finally you exit through these double doors, and there is a large number of staircases. And as you walk, you feel this moment where there is a sort of waviness to the air and a little chill that runs through you as you pass through one of these doors. And the temperature changes, and there's a lot more sound as well. You hear busy streets, you hear a number of things. Looks like you pass through a certain area. And there, you come to the very center of the grand city of Illysh. Here, you exit, and immediately above you, this towering spike in the middle of the city that seems to be going much higher than it appears to be. It is very hard to focus on how high exactly this tower is. But around you, cobblestones, a large market, and everywhere you see spires, maybe not taller than Tanosir's tower, but close to it. A number of large cathedrals, all immaculate, somewhat similar in build, with different flares tuned to the gods. As you are at the very center, the temple city, the once temple city of Illysh, but now the capital of the very arcane-focused Illysh Republic. And
there might be a temple of Helios here somewhere.
There might be. It was said that Illysh had a temple for every god, even smaller ones and shrines. You are, in fact, and I will give you the proper description here.
I would know where we are.
Yes,
right?
You would know. And I haven't used this in a while. It's one of the first things I ever wrote. Okay. There's a lot of mention of Illysh. There you go. That is something you don't need to know. No. Okay. There we go. Sorry. You are at the crossing of the two main roads of Illysh, the Avenue Ostri Madral and the Ostri Dralsir, going from northwest to southeast, each ending at the largest gates of the city itself. You currently are at the Demon's End Market Square, which is the main square of the city itself, and this is on the very crossroads of the avenues. This is wide. This is a large square that is perhaps that dwarfs even Greven's merchant district could probably fit in this flat surface of a square. There's again hundreds of stalls and markets and people coming in. There's carriages everywhere. This is a very, very populated area. At the very center, across from this tower, there is a colossal statue of a dying winged demon being slain by a cordon of angels, surrounded by numerous figures of all races. The heads of the non-human figures, however, have been cut off or defaced in some way. And you know this to be the case, Nolan. This has been, as long as you have been alive, the non-humans of this were defaced a long time ago by vandals. and this was said to be influence of the cult of Severnus, of the that did that. Then the first building you see behind the statue is a grand mansion that connects to other, in a circular way, many very expensive looking houses have been built here, or at least establishments. There is almost like a king's palace, and Nolan, you know this to be the Princess Madra, which is of course facing at the back. And you realize now as well that the Tower of Asir is turned away from the Grand Cathedral. And this is the Near Cathedral, the cathedral of the Near dynasty itself. The hotel, you know well, was famously built as the first and largest hotel in Natara, used to house hundreds of dignitaries and ambassadors that had their permanent residence there. But the Princess Madra Nir, who refused the throne in order to marry a guild leader, a merchant and non-noble, she was killed for her impudence, and her descendants then turned the hotel into the continents of perhaps the world's largest brothel, as it was facing the cathedral as a permanent insult, basically, to that. The cathedral itself still doesn't have a specific god, worships many of the gods worshipped by the Near dynasty. 4 gigantic spires, each one with a very intricate clock. Of course, prominent among the gods is Pelor and a few other of the major gods there. The clocks indicating the celestial calendar. And the fourth of the towers is dials of planets, but the meaning of all of that has been lost throughout the ages, but it is still maintained. But it is one of those puzzles that many have tried to solve but haven't quite figured out. And then next to the large hotel is the Empire's Hold, which is the largest bank in Illysh, and perhaps also the continent itself. And then a smattering of small inns and other businesses that still keep their business there. Next to that is the Stoltier Bazaar, the largest general store on the continent again. And currently, there is also an arcane district with all manner of wizardry to be bought and sold. And at the very far end of the other side, let's say the east side, there is a large tent camp, like actually an eastern bazaar, or it should be a western bazaar in this chronology. Lots of tents and eastern looking things. And you would know of this place as well, Nolan. This would be the bazaar, or at least the hold of Bodagaral, who is a famous Orcish merchant who has a deal with the wizards of the tower to get good deals on magical items that might have been made by apprentices and might not always work, but it does have some finery and some good items as well. Through the entire city is the river Nish, and this is of course this is on Illysh, of course, is on the bank, and there are canals as well, and this is still the river. So if you look at the map, the large, very gigantic river that is almost like a shore, and it has tides because, of course, yeah, you can see clearly. There is a harbor, the Illysh, and you have canals that run through the entire city as well that have been dammed off and channeled to there. And that is the river Nish, which means is a demonic uttering of of blood. So it is the abyssal uttering of blood. That's what they named, because the legend goes that a rather important demon was slain here long ago, and that its blood that ran down the hills formed the river to the ocean.
Oh.
So yeah, welcome to the city, and that is where we'll pick up next time. So make your shopping lists if you have them. You are
Boy.
in the ancient capital of the Tarn Empire, now run by wizards.
I will end just saying, before we go shopping, let's just have a talk at my place.
Your
Your
place?
That's just you have a house here.
Let the madness begin.
Oh,
Or
sure.
I think I do.
It's like this very old, dusty, small shack.
It's like an attic room in the library that he rents.
Hi,
for,
Mom. Oh, boy.
Hey, mom.
Yeah.
Turns out Nolan has a wife and like 5 kids and 3
Yeah,
grandkids.
Did you bring home some food, Papa?
Where on earth have you been?
Oh, you brought some friends. It's the first time he brought friends in his whole life. Oh.
I'll slap him with the Bible. And,
Yeah. But yeah, there you are. That's where I'll also end the session, so we can set a date. Another yapping session. Don't worry,